What's up, you guys? It's Hannah. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Hannah. Glad we got that out of the way. I got a lot of really good feedback on the mini mic that I used in my coffee tasting video, and I really wanted to use the mini mic in this video because it just made it more fun. It made me, I don't know, more outgoing for some reason, just holding that little thing. And I also discovered through that I like having something to hold. So when I was getting ready to film this video, I tried to plug the mic into the mini mic into my camera, and I recorded a clip, and thank God I did that and I tested it before I recorded the entire video because I listened to it back and there was no sound. So it seems as though the mini mic does not work with cameras. I'm improvising and I'm using a mic, just not the mini one. This is my podcast mic. For those of you who really enjoyed the mini mic, I'm sorry that this is not mini, and it's probably less fun because it's not mini, but it's the best that I could do. So anyway, welcome to today's video. I got an idea to talk about this topic, and I originally wanted to do a podcast episode on this, but then as I thought through the concept more, I realized I wanted to have a visual element and like draw out what I was thinking. So what is a podcast with a visual element? A video. So that's why we're doing it here. By the way, if you didn't know how to podcast, I do. It's called Digital Diary with Hannah Elise. You can find it on pretty much any streaming platform that you stream your podcasts on, and it's linked down in the description always if you want to go listen to it. And the topic that I want to talk about today is how to set goals without setting yourself up for failure. Let that settle for a second, and before I get into I almost just said episode. I act like I'm recording a podcast right now because I have my podcast mic. But before I really get into it, I want to shout out our sponsor for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Thank you so much, Indeed, once again. I've talked about Indeed a few times now on this channel, and once again, I am reminding you that they have a YouTube channel. Indeed, the platform that you go on to look for jobs, they have a YouTube channel, and on their YouTube channel, they have tons of really helpful videos with a lot of information in them about your professional career, and just there's so much good information on there about so many different aspects of jobs, work, professionalism, career, advice, tips, all of those things. I specifically have been watching their
Interview and Workplace Scenarios by Indeed
video series, and by the way, all of this is free because it's just on their YouTube channel, so you have access to all of these videos for free. They're just resources that are there to help you. A video that I watched recently that I really enjoyed was 4 tips to prepare for your first week of work.
There is nothing like the excitement of getting a new job that you've been working really hard for. But there comes a time between accepting the offer and starting the job where you get the jitters and your nerves kick into overdrive. Totally normal. Transitions are tough.
This is a little bit of foreshadowing for today's video, but so your goal is to have a good first week of work and to make a good first impression. In this video, Indeed outlines 4 tips for how you can achieve that. And so essentially those are kind of like the tactics that you could employ. For example, one of your goals could be to get 8 hours of sleep a night because that will put you in the best headspace, or one of your goals could be to connect with 5 of your coworkers in the first week, something like that. The advice that they talk about in the videos and the examples can stretch way beyond just the workplace. For this specific video, obviously these tips could apply to your first week at work, but I also found that these are a lot of the same tips that I would receive and then give in turn for my first weeks of school, specifically college. A lot of what was talked about in this video aligned with things that I liked to do my first week of a new semester. Essentially, I feel like the advice in these videos can be applicable to so many different situations and therefore can impact so many people, and they're literally all free. As I've said, if you've watched a video of mine before where I talked about them, the link is down in the description to the video that I watched about your first week of work. And through that link, you can obviously look at their channel and watch as many other videos as you want for free. So again, thank you so much to Indeed for sponsoring this portion of today's video. I haven't done a sit-down video in a hot minute because I started a podcast, and every topic that I've thought of for a sit-down video has just become a podcast episode. So as I said, today I want to talk about how to set goals without setting yourself up for failure. And this idea came to me because I was thinking about the fact that I set goals for myself, I guess, in my head, but I have been hesitant to write those goals down because I am afraid of failure. I'm afraid of putting a goal out there, writing it down, and then not being able to achieve it. And it started making me fear goals in general and setting goals. But I don't think the issue is with setting goals. It's with how I'm doing it and what kind of goals I'm setting. And I started to think about this more, and I wrote a bunch of notes for this video because I think that goals can be very daunting and intimidating depending on how you make them. In today's video, I want to talk about how you can set goals that aren't going to scare you, aren't going to feel daunting, aren't going to feel impossible, and aren't going to feel like you're setting yourself up for failure, because nobody wants to do that. So let's begin at the beginning. You want to set a goal. You have something that you want to achieve, and you want to set a goal for yourself for how to achieve that. I need to just use an example to explain this, because if I don't, it's going to make no fucking sense. Say that my goal is to hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Before I started thinking about this further, I would say that's my goal. Hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube is the goal. And that is a goal, but it isn't the goal that you should be setting for yourself. It's more like the long-term objective. It's the vision. It's the strategy. It's the end point. You can't just take the end point of something and be like, all right, that's my goal, and that's all I'm going to say. Like, I'm just going to do that. Okay, but how are you going to do that is the question. I have had a goal of hitting 1 million subscribers on YouTube for like 3 years now. Have I hit 1 million subscribers? No. And sometimes I think about it and I'm like, well, shit, this is a goal that I have and I just can't hit it. Why is that? And it may be because I'm not being specific. I'm not giving myself specific things that I need to do in order to hit that goal. I'm just saying this is my goal and I'm just going to wing it until I get there, I guess. That is how you set yourself up for failure when you set a goal. I feel like the goals that I have in terms of numbers and monthly revenue, subscriber, follower counts, view counts, all of those things, setting a goal for myself that is just that always makes me feel like I'm going to be setting myself up for failure, because A, they're so broad. B, those things are not in my control. The number itself is not in my control. All that I can control, and I'm getting ahead of myself because this is something I'm going to talk about later, but all I can control is what I'm doing to get there. So that is kind of the model that I've come up with for myself for how to set goals that are actually attainable and not scary. So of course, I want to share this model with you. We're going to start with a big circle, and that is where you're going to put your broad goal or what you want to achieve. Or in business terms, if you went to business school, studied any of those majors, or maybe even if not, I don't know where all they teach this, but strategy and tactics. Strategy is the big picture. Tactics are the things that you do to get there, sort of. Like, those are more of the nitty-gritty details. Strategy is the big picture. What you're putting in this circle is the big picture. This is your broad goal, long-term objective, okay? Now I'm going to draw a few lines from this circle, and I'm going to draw some little boxes. These are going to be the building blocks, the tactics to this strategy. These are the specific things that I can actually do to support this goal. And these are where we're actually going to set our goals. We're taking the thing that we ultimately want and we're breaking it down into actionable steps that will get us there. They're more concise, they're more detailed. You're not just throwing that end goal on a piece of paper and being like, this is my goal. Think of it like a map. You have a destination in mind, but you haven't outlined how you're gonna do it. You haven't outlined the directions, the path you're gonna take to get there. You're just like, all right, I wanna get here. How? That's what we're starting with, all right? This is the model. I find that writing things out physically always helps me for some reason. I love having a visual. I'm very much a visual learner, so when I explain things, I also like to use visuals. I just feel like it makes it make the most sense. And then also, you can have all of it written down and you can almost like show your work, if that makes sense. You can illustrate your actual thought process instead of just having it in your head. And it also can help you when you write things out to make sense of stuff. If you have question marks, seeing it all mapped out can literally help you to put the pieces together or fill in any missing blanks. So take out a piece of paper, take out a pencil or a pen, draw along with me. Okay, now that we have this model, we're moving on to the next part. And that is how we are going to make each goal. What needs to go into each goal to make it something that we can actually do. If y'all have heard the acronym SMART goals, SMART, you know where I'm going with this. Each of these blocks that you have drawn under the big circle, each of these are going to be SMART goals. Let's review what SMART goals are. The S stands for specific. So you want it to be clear and concise, detailed. You're essentially answering the question, what do you want to do? But you're answering it in a very clear, detailed way. So going back to the hitting 1 million subscribers example, in each rectangle, I'm gonna come up with things that I can do now that can help me reach that goal. One of which could be posting consistently. So post 1 video per week could be one of the goals. And I'm already doing that, but consistency is a really big part of it. So just for the example, what do I wanna do? Post 1 video per week. Okay. Also, you can have as many or as little of these rectangles, these goals coming off of the big main picture as you want and as you feel that you can take on. I'll get into that a little bit later. Just knowing your capacity, knowing what is feasible for you is important, but I digress. Let's continue. The M stands for measurable. You want to define what evidence will prove you're making progress in your goal. So like I said, post 1 video per week. The measurable part is one video. If I'm posting 1 video per week, then I know I'm making progress on that goal. The A stands for attainable. This means setting goals that you can actually achieve. They're realistic. They're feasible for you. Again, posting 1 video per week is attainable for me. It's feasible. I've been doing it, so I know that I can do it. The R stands for relevant. This means that your goals should align with your values and your long-term objectives. I already mentioned long-term objectives because that's what's in the big circle. So does this goal directly support what is in that circle, your long-term objective? If it doesn't, then this is not the time and place.
Time and place. And you did it at my birthday dinner.
You only want to be expending your energy on things that are relevant to the cause. And finally, the T stands for time-based. So you want to set a realistic end date for prioritization and motivation for these goals. Now, for the goal I've been talking about, the posting a video per week, that's kind of difficult because, essentially I'm going to be doing that forever. Not forever, but there's no end to that. That's just what I want to do for my schedule. So maybe, questioning my own goal that I just made. Oh, maybe my time is per week. And then that just, what? Okay, I'm just going to say that my time frame is per week. So 1 video is the measurable, per week is the time-based, and then just for the foreseeable future, that's what I'm going to be doing. You want all of your goals that you create underneath the big long-term objective to follow this method, the SMART goals method, because if you don't have all 5 of these criteria met for each goal, you're going to leave yourself feeling confused. And this is what is giving you the direction to tell you how to achieve your goals and meet your long-term objective. So after you've drawn your diagram and you've filled in all of these things, go back and evaluate each of the goals that you've written with these criteria. Does it focus on one thing or one aspect of what you want to do? Is it quantifiable? Is there a number somewhere in there that helps you to know how much of it you need to do? Is it attainable? Be serious with yourself. It's good to aim high. It's good to set your sights high, but the really high level shooting for the stars type of thing would be what you put in the big circle, not in the goals coming off of it, not in the building blocks. Are what you put in the building blocks realistic? Also, are they in your control? Do you have control over carrying out these goals? Or do they rely on other people to do things? You want what is in these blocks to be things that you can control. Okay? Again, pause on that. I keep referencing that because it's so important, but I promise I'll get to it in a second. Next, is it relevant? How does it support the overarching goal? Answer that for yourself. How is this supporting the overarching goal? If you can answer that, you're good to go. And then finally, did you set a time frame for it? Is there a time frame mentioned in there somewhere so that you have some direction and you're able to prioritize these things and motivate yourself to meet those time frames? If you have said yes to all of those 5 things, then it is a good, SMART goal to put in those boxes. That is essentially the crash course, if you will. John Green, are you the one that records Crash Course? Don't sue me for saying that. I'm sorry. I know I didn't make that up. But that is essentially how you are going to create goals that do not set yourself up for failure. That's how you're going to really flesh out your ideas and set realistic benchmarks for yourself that you can actually start getting to work on now. I have a couple more things that I want you to keep in mind when you are setting your goals. And all of these things are really important. The first one being something that I've mentioned 1,000 times already, you want to make sure that the goals you're setting are things that are in your control. If the accomplishment of your goals relies on others, you cannot guarantee that you will achieve them. God, I keep with my hair. I'm sorry. It's like really annoying. I know. I should have put it back before this, but I didn't. I talk about this on my podcast all the time. You cannot control anyone else. The only person that you can control ever in the entire world is yourself. You cannot control what other people say or do or think or believe or any of that. You can never control anyone but yourself. So putting a goal out there and writing down something that literally relies on other people in order for it to be met isn't going to work. I mean this for the goals underneath the circle. My circle example of hitting 1 million subscribers on YouTube, that does actually rely on other people because they have to choose to subscribe. But there are things that are in my control that I can do to make them want to do that. And those are the goals you should be setting. That big thing is the vision. Some things in life you can't completely control. Some things are actually left into the hands of other people. You can't put something in that circle that is completely out of your control and that you have no say over, because that's not going to work, obviously. You want to have something that if somebody else has a say in it, you need to have just as much, if not more of a say in it than they do. But when it comes to the goals underneath that, the building blocks, all of those things need to be in your control. Because if they're not, how are you going to make sure that they happen? You're not. And then if you've done all of those things that you can, you've done your best. You know, the second thing that I alluded to is you need to know your capacity. By this, I mean, don't set too many goals for yourself at once. For me, I know overwhelming myself with too many goals and too many things that I put on my plate makes me not want to do anything at all. And that is the opposite of what we're trying to do here. I want to motivate myself. I want to make myself feel empowered and feel that I can do this. But if I overload my plate, if I bite off more than I can chew, then it's just going to make me not want to do shit at all. And that is not what we want. Know your personal capacity. Know what you are capable of taking on mentally, physically, and emotionally right now. Still set that big, broad goal. Set that goal in the circle, but maybe only draw 1 or 2 rectangles off of it. Maybe if you feel up to it and you feel like you can do it, draw 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. You can do as many or as few as you want, but it needs to be based on what you can take on right now. And be serious with yourself again about this. This is honestly one of the most important things about this entire video and about this whole process, because you can set all of the goals you want. You can make all of the SMART goals. You can set the most specific, detailed, amazingly crafted goal. But if you put too many of them on your plate at once, you're not going to want to do any of them. And in turn, you're not going to do any of them. So be realistic with not only your goals, but how many you're setting for yourself. This is very important. And finally, don't get discouraged if you don't hit a goal. Expecting yourself to hit every single goal that you set for yourself would be expecting perfection from yourself, and that is not possible. You are still a human being. We all set a lot of goals for ourselves, and I don't think any of us, including myself, obviously, have ever hit every single one. And that is okay. Don't let that discourage you from setting them at all. It's all a part of the process. If you set a goal and you don't quite hit it, that doesn't mean you'll never be able to achieve it. It means it just needs a little bit more time. And that is okay. You have to give yourself grace because you are a human being, not a human doing, as Lexi Hidalgo says on her podcast. Try not to get down on yourself and get discouraged. I know this is way easier said than done because this is something that I do. I started this video off by saying that I was almost afraid of goals because I was afraid of failing. And here I am saying this, but try not to get discouraged. It's only a failure if you stop trying. You never are failing unless you just completely give up and stop trying. You either win or you learn. And if you win, great. But if you learn, that means you're growing. You're getting better and you're going to be able to apply what you're learning in the future and be even better and hit that goal. Don't give up hope if you don't hit something in the time frame that you set for yourself. Nothing is really that serious ever, including this. Goals are there to help you. They're tools that you can use to help you reach what you want to do. They don't need to take over your life. They don't need to have a chokehold on you because it's never that serious. Nothing is ever that serious. If something doesn't work out, it's literally fine. It's fine. The world's going to keep turning. It's Just as simple as that. I believe that's all I wanted to say about this topic. I hope that this helped someone out there or inspired you to maybe start looking at goal setting in a different way. I know when I started thinking this through, really, I was like, damn, I have been misdirecting my fear this entire time. I'm not scared of goals. I'm scared of unrealistic expectations that I set for myself and call them goals. It's not the goal that's the problem. It's how I'm creating it. All right, that's all, folks. Love y'all so much. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you stayed until this point in the video, comment down below, I'm a real one because you're a real one. If you want to see more videos from me, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I post a new video every Sunday. And if you forget that I post a new video every Sunday, or you just want to get notified right when I post a new video, make sure to turn on my post notifications for my channel. It's the little bell icon so that you never miss an upload and you get notified right when I post a new video. And yeah, I think that's it. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.